Okay, we're gonna do basics for this video. Whoever is learning this, you should know how to do most things because I'm pretty sure I taught all of you how to mess with properties and what some of these tabs mean. If you don't know what all these tabs mean, I'm gonna go over it, so don't worry. First off, let's work on the Explorer tab. If you don't know how to get there, go to View, Explorer. For this tutorial and the rest of them, you're gonna need Explorer open, Properties, and Output. Don't worry about these other ones for now. I think the only other one you would maybe worry about is UI visibility, but that's for later. I'll tell you when to turn it on, but not now. So clear is also helpful. If I had like stuff in the output and I click clear, or not that one, oops, sorry, this one right here, not that clear, don't worry about that. This one right here, if I click clear, it clears everything on my output. So yeah, make sure you have Explorer, Properties, and Output enabled. You can manage it however you want. You can hold like the little name bar and you can move it around. I can put it right here if I wanted to. Bam, my properties are here, and my output, by the way. You can also move it to, I like to have mine right side, left side, just so I have a little bit of a centered view. That is up to you. You can also combine them like I have here. You can put the output and properties together. I recommend doing that. It makes it helpful. But if you feel like that's annoying, you can put like your properties on the bottom or the top, or you know what? It's your client. It's your client. You can do whatever you want. Okay, so let's start with Explorer. I'm gonna actually extend this a bit just so you can see a little bit more. Okay, so your Explorer has workspace. This contains pretty much everything in the game. You should know this because you've every one of you has gone through this and have modified properties, but you can see how the terrain's here, which we don't have any terrain right now, so don't worry about it. We have the spawn location, the base plate, and a park. Very cool. Next up, we have the players. Actually, by the way, for workspace, you will be referencing workspace a lot, so keep it in mind. Players you will as well, lighting not so much, but players is just the players that are in the game right now. Technically, they're called experiences in Roblox, or places, but we're just going to call it game, just so, you know, makes sense. Very easy to learn. Players is a theoretical concept, not a actual, like, you don't see my character in here, right? But if I made my character, like if I pressed play right now, right, you could see in workspace that my actual character is in here. And if I went to my server side, like as in like, think of it as like a god mode, I can move myself around like this. I could move myself all the way back here if I wanted to. Go back to client, see how I'm all the way over here. Very cool. Okay, so players are a theoretical concept. Next up is lighting. Let's see, you can just mess with all these lighting things. There is other ones you can do, like frequently used, or I don't know if you can see that, but there is like the sky, the atmosphere, sun rays effect, color correction. I could go to here, and then I can mess with all the lighting stuff. Don't worry about it. For now, that's a later thing. Material service, don't worry about it. Not gonna touch it. Network client, don't worry about it. Not gonna touch it. Replicated first is important. Say there's like a say your game's pretty laggy or like unoptimized or something like that, and you want something to be replicated first. It doesn't have to be laggy, but say you want to be something like to spawn first, so like a certain part that's really important. Then what you would do is you go to replicated first, you put it in there, and it would spawn first. So if it's like a certain script, like maybe a GUI script, then you put it in there. But yeah, that's what replicated first is. Replicated storage is for basically long-term storage. So say I needed like all these scripts, right? These character player script, and yeah, I put it in here. That's what replicated storage is for. You can also put module scripts in here. You can put animations into here. You can put whatever the hell you want to put in here. You can put parts in here if I wanted to, like that. You can also put in replicated first if you wanted to, but obviously replicated storage. I usually don't touch replicated first because if I need to use that, that's either for GUI or my game's unoptimized. And if it's unoptimized, I'm going to optimize it. So don't worry about it for now. Moving a part from, or like any model from workspace to replicated storage or replicated first, it keeps its same values. It's just stored somewhere where you can't see it. So you can see right now that I have it selected, the part, that little red part, that is still technically here, and I can modify its values actually. If I put it back into workspace, you can see that it's still there in the same position, yada, yada, yada. So, yep, makes sense. Server script service, you put all your server scripts that you want to be activated in here. Server storage is for anything in the server that would need to be stored. So like maybe, what's a good example? And it's hard to think of a good example right now off the bat, but maybe you put server scripts in here. Normally you wouldn't. Actually no, you would put server scripts in here, just for storage. Usually wouldn't put them inside replicated storage. That's only for like local scripts or module scripts, which don't worry about module scripts. Okay. But yeah, that's what server storage is for. Starter GUI, you can put any GUI in here, like screen GUI, and I can make a frame, and I can move this frame around, and hooray. Again, you can toggle it with UI visibility, so you can't move it anymore. You can see how these become grayed out in a way. So you can still touch them, you just can't, you won't be able to see them until you go back to view and you press UI visibility. But yeah, that's what starter GUI is. If you had like a loading screen or a main menu, you put it in there. Starter pack is for starter tools. If I went to toolbox, right, and I went to, I don't know, light, I had like a flashlight tool, right? That's a straight line. Flashlight tool is a tool. Yeah, so whenever like you take a thing from toolbox, if it's a tool, it'll say, oh, do you want to put it in starter pack? I can say yes, and you can see whenever I play it, I have a flashlight. I can turn it off and on. Very cool. Normally, we're not going to use Toolbox in these tutorials because that is other people's work. I know it's there and it's supposed to be used, but for our project, we're not going to be doing that. So please don't use Toolbox, and especially don't use AI. AI is very not great right now for really heavy coding. So simple things, it's good. It's great. So you can mess around with that if you want to, but very complex things, don't. You can use AI to look up certain things like, oh, what's the service for, I don't know, like what's the service for players? It'll say, oh, player, it'll just be called players. So you can look stuff up with it, just don't use it to make your code. Because it's very messy and I can't read it like very easily. I can read it, it just takes me a little bit longer. It'll take you a little bit longer to understand too. So don't do it. Anyways, that's what starter pack is. Don't use Toolbox, don't use AI. Great. Starter player, there's gonna be two folders within this. There's gonna be starter character scripts and starter player scripts. Starter player scripts is for the theoretical player thing. So if I were to move these scripts back into here that I have saved, all right, and I pressed play, you can see that, let me actually disable these real quick so they don't do anything special. 1 second. There we go. Very cool. I can go back and I can press play. Okay, nothing's happening right now. But if I went into workspace and then this one, my character, like actually me, you can go to character script. You can see it right here. So you can see that this little thing is called your character, this little model. And you have character scripts, which is from starter player and then starter character scripts. That's where character script goes into. It goes into like your model. Starter player scripts, don't worry about these ones down here. These are default ones. This one right here goes into players, your name, or anyone's name actually goes into everyone's client. So keep that in mind. Player scripts, you can see it right here. Again, these are default, don't worry about these, but you can see my player script is right there. So again, keep that in mind. That's starter player. Teams, if I were to make a, like, I don't know, red versus blue, I can make two teams called red and blue. You can make a team variable. I can name it whatever the hell I want to. Name, red. I can make the team color. I can make the team color red. Duplicate. We can press F2 to rename it. Blue. I can make it blue, or lapis, that's fine. Go into play. You can see I'm on the red team by default. Obviously, you can do code with this. You don't need to do teams for what we're working on our project. Otherwise, don't worry about it. So that's what teams is. Very simple. Sound service is all the sound stuff. Normally, don't worry too much about it. Normally, sounds are put into workspace, kind of. They're put into parts in workspace. So like this part right here, I can put a sound, and the sound would radiate from this part if there was a range. So normally you wouldn't do sound service, but we'll get into that later if we need to. Text chat service messes with all the text stuff. Don't touch it. Please don't touch it, because we won't be doing custom text stuff for a while. If I need you to, I will ask you to touch it, but for now. Don't mess with it. But yeah, that's all this stuff in Explorer. Properties, I'm sure you know how this works. There is brick color, which just changed the... You just use like a preset of colors. There is normal color, which just... You could change like... you have like a really nice hue area. You have like a very nice selector. You can also color... pick screen color. It does the same thing if I went over to my other monitor. I know you can't see this, but I can pick like my... I don't know, my avatar. I can pick like the Roblox gray or like the YouTube red or whatever. Yeah, so you can still pick your screen color if you want. I can pick like this little nice blue, like the sky blue. Very cool. Keep in mind that whenever you select a color, like what I just did, you have to press OK and not cancel or exit. You have to click OK to actually apply it. Material, very simple. I can make this glass. You can see how it changes the material. Looks a little bit different, right? Cast shadow. You can see right here is the shadow. You can see my mouse. Turn it off, no shadow. Turn it on, shadow. Very cool. Material variant. That's a little more special. Don't worry about it for now. If there was like different wood types, then you'd put like, I don't know, oak or birch or spruce or whatever, right? That would be like a material variant. Or maybe like you're putting copper or iron or bronze. Maybe you're doing that for a material variant. But I think it's fine. You don't have to worry about it too much. I think just having a general one is fine for now. If we need to make our own materials, we can, which we will in the project, but for now we won't. Don't worry about it too much. Just mess with material. That's great. Here, let's go to reflectance is how reflective it is. Transparency is obviously how transparent it is. 1 is the highest. 0 is the lowest. So like opaque. Middle ground is normally where you want to go, but usually you put it to like, not 1, but you put like 0.9. You put it like to the extreme ends. You could put 0 for that end. Very cool, very cool, very cool. Okay, that's the normal appearance one. There's data, archivable. You don't really touch it too much. You can hover over stuff. It'll tell you what it is. There's size, C-frame. C-frame is like position, which you will use a lot. You use a lot of free C-frame stuff. Pivot is... Say you had like a sword and you had like a hilt, right? Like you had like the sword handle, a hilt, the bottom part, I forgot what it was called, and you have like the blade itself, right? The pivot would be off of normally the heaviest part for a weapon. So that's where something would pivot, or like maybe with like a clock, the heaviest part would be like the middle part of it, right? Or maybe it would be the end part of it, and it pivots, like the rotation would pivot off of that. A little confusing to think about, but I'm sure you can understand whoever is watching this. Parent. Okay. Parent is for, obviously the name's the name. Locked means I can't like grab it. You can see how I'm touching it. But if I click it up here and I click unlock, I can now grab it with my mouse, like in the viewport. This is called a viewport, by the way. Everything you see in here, how I'm moving around, that's called a viewport. So when I say viewport, that's what I mean. But yeah, that's what lock does. Makes you so where you can't touch it. Parent. If I put this parent to like replicated storage, you see how it goes away? It's the same as dragging it from workspace to replicated storage. The parent is very important for an object. Any object, the model, even a mesh, even a part like this, it's important to know what the parent is. If it's a parent of nothing, you just put it as a parent of workspace. Because workspace is like the world. You can see like how the workspace is a little global icon, like the Earth. Very cool. Yeah, that's what workspace is. That's like nothing, quote unquote, but still technically something. Okay, that's what parent is. Size, already know what size is. C-frame, already explained that. Origin, similar to C-frame. Don't worry about it for now. You're just gonna mess with C-frame, not the origin of something. I already told you what pivot was. Pivot offset, just an offset of the pivot. Behavior. The only behavior right now is enable fluid forces. We're not messing with water in our project, so don't worry about it. Collision, can collide is very important. If I turn this off, my character won't be able to go through it. Can query, you can see what this does. Don't worry about it. Can touch is important because say there's like a if I had can collide on but can touch off, what would happen is if I ran into, say, a floor, like a pressure plate, right? Like a pad on the ground that activates something, I'd be able to walk on it and like, I would like, my player would be a little bit rised because, you know, I'm obviously standing on something, so my character would be, you know, a little bit higher than someone who's on the ground. But it wouldn't activate anything. Like, you couldn't detect if something was on it if you turn can touch off. So normally you keep it on. If it was something really technical, then you turn it off. But don't worry about it. Otherwise, anchored, if I were to put this up in the sky right now, and I press, let me make sure that these scripts, yeah, okay, the scripts are still off. And I press play, you can see that it falls, right? Very cool. But if I kept it in the sky and I turned on anchored, bam, very cool, right? Very, very cool. Okay, so now it stays in the air. Anchored means like it's frozen in place. If I were to run into it or shoot it with a missile launcher or whatever, nothing's gonna happen unless there's special code in it. So yeah, you could turn anchored and unanchored on and off. So yeah, very, very, very helpful and useful. Massless is if you're doing something physics-based. So you turn this off. It doesn't really matter for us, for our project, but yeah. Root priority, don't worry about it. Shape, you can change it to all the different shapes. I can change it to a cylinder if I want to. Keep in mind, it's not going to look exactly how you want it to because of how something's rotated and whatnot. There's a ball, there's a block. Normally you just use block and you just model something. Our modeler, whoever that is, will be making models for us. So we usually don't have to touch the shape of something. So, you know, don't worry about it too much. If you're making something basic, then you can mess with it if you want to. Assembly, don't worry about any of this. Tags, don't worry about this. Attributes is important because I can add an attribute and say, I don't know. Shouldn't matter too much. I can say is cool, right? And I can put it as a Boolean. Is it cool? Yes. Is it not cool? No. See that? Very cool. Attributes are very useful. Say my character had, I don't know, like maybe you want to check if they're, I don't know, their class, or maybe you want to check their class or something like that, right? You could put a attribute on and you can say, oh, is this class what they have or not? Or do they even have a class? Yes or no? So that's what attributes are. You can put special, well, that's the definition of attributes. So that's what they are. You can obviously delete these or rename them if you want to. You also change the value of them. The name of something and the value of something are different. Obviously, like is cool is the name and true or false is the value. But yeah, that's what that is. So that's the basics of properties and Explorer so far. Output, if I were to enable this player script right here, if I were to actually open it up, you can see that it has print hello world. Print is like a debug statement. There is also warn, hey, not cool, right? Hey, not cool. And I pressed, let's see, I have to enable the script. And if I go back to my worlds and I press play, you can see that if I go to output, you can see my hello world, which is my top one. This is the scripts read from top to bottom, like how we read left to right in English. Standardized English, American English, British English, whatever. Any English you think of, that's how we read it. Left to right, top to bottom. So keep that in mind. Top will run first, bottom will run last. Anything in between will run in between. So yeah, you can see that prints make this little debug statement and it shows you where it's from. That's where you see player script right here. You can see, let me actually extend this a little bit for you. You can see that hello world was printed, which is in these quotation marks. You can see the hey, not cool. You see how it's in orange text? That means it's a warning. And you can see that it comes from player script, line 3, which is this little :3 right here. Line 3 right here. Very nice, right? It tells you where it comes from and what line it's on. So these are used for debug statements mostly. Keep it in mind. Warnings are helpful. If you're just debugging something really quick, you could just put this. But if you're having like an actual warning statement, then you use warn. You can put variables in these. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, that's how prints and warns work. And yeah, that's how that works. There's one more difference before I get into actual coding stuff, which will be in the next short video. The client side and the server side. What I was in right now was the client. Let me disable this script real quick. Oh, by the way, actually, you can enable, select multiple things by pressing, say there's like a ton of stuff right here, right? And like say there's like a ton of parts. I duplicated all these. right? I did duplicate, duplicate. There's a ton of parts, right? Wow, so many. Instead of doing this where I highlight everything, say there's like a bunch of name stuff, so like part 1, part 2, part 3, and you want to select only those two. If they're all in a row, like part 1, part 2, part 3, I could hold shift and then left click. After select, so left click to select one part, and then in the Explorer, and then hold shift and I left click something else that's a little bit below. You see how it selects this one too? Yeah, so it selects everything in between those two parts listed in the Explorer. However, if I were to do this and this, you can see how it selects everything else. If I were to hold Control and then left click, so left click something and then left click this one, it only selects these two ones, right? Very cool. So you can select multiple things without having to select all of these things in between. So shift is to select all of them in between a certain list. Control is to select certain parts, even if they're separate in this list. Okay. One last thing. Let me Control Z all this because we don't want that many parts. Let's put this guy back down. Make him right here. He can still be anchored though, because it doesn't really matter too much. Okay, one last thing. So I can select this one. I can go to Properties, turn off Enabled. So now it's disabled. I can turn on the character script right here. I'm going to turn on. I'm going to put the server script into server script service. These scripts, all they do is, I know you can't read it yet, but don't worry. They just spawn a part above the player every second. The client script makes it to where it's a blue part, and the server script makes it to where it's a green part. That is because if I looked into this one, you can see how, I know you don't know what this means or anything. This is just a camera part. You can see that my hello world and my warn statement, hey, not cool, from our player script right here, is blue. You see how there's blue right there, blue right there? Don't actually extend this, blue, blue, blue. And you see how this one's green? This is because this is a server part. So, or like a server script saying something. So that's what this is. Blue means client, green means server. Keep that in mind. Obviously this is green, I know. That's just because of how the text editor works, or like the script editor works. This isn't server-sided because it's in obviously a client-side script. I know this server script isn't green, like the icon right here isn't green, but just for now, think of the color as green. You can also think of it as whatever else you want. But you can see what's server, what's client from these little colors right here, these little bars next to the statements. Okay. So since these are both enabled, the character script and the server script service, I can press play. And when I'm in the client, you can see that there's two parts spawning above me, the blue one and the green one. Obviously the blue one is the client side one, the green one is the server side one, right? You can see that these parts are a little funky in collision. Don't worry about it. You'll see why in a second. If I switched over to server side, there's only green parts. That's because when you're making a part or doing something in client, it only affects the client. It doesn't affect anyone else in the server. So if I were to do a team test or like a test with multiple people, they would see their own blue parts, but I wouldn't be able to see, like say someone was right here. They're standing right here where SpongeBob is, right? Obviously SpongeBob would see his own blue parts standing right here. Let's say there was another SpongeBob or Patrick or whoever standing right here. They would only see their blue parts. So over there would only be, over here would only be green for Patrick, right? And over here would only be green for SpongeBob. But Patrick right here would see blue, like SpongeBob is seeing right now, right? And SpongeBob right here would only see blue here because it's a client-side thing. So clients are computers that connect to servers. Servers are things that relay information from computer to computer and themselves, usually. So yeah, that's the difference. You can see that green client, blue, green server, blue client. And whatever happens on a client-side script stays on the client-side script. You can actually see the physics, like if I stared at this block right here, this block right here, and you see how like this green part is standing above this blue part, or like is on that blue part. If I went to the server, this one's just floating. Same with this one. All these are floating because there's stuff in the client side that's interacting with the server side. That's just because of how Roblox does its collision detection. It's very odd. And you can see how, like, see right here, a lot of these are blue parts right here. You just can't see it because, or the server can't see it, but the server knows there's also something there because the client is also, the client is also pushing it upwards. on my side. So my client is also talking to the server, but just for now, client side is its own thing. Server side is its own thing. Server side things can be seen on all clients. Client side things can only be seen on their own clients. No one else's clients can see each other's client stuff. Make sense? Okay, that's it. That's it for this one. Let me stop this. That's all the basics of stuff. You learned you learned everything in Explorer. You've learned how to open Explorer properties and output in the view tab. Hopefully you've learned how to press the play button. That should be very simple. You learned how to do all the properties in here, what'll be useful to us. Like all this, very cool. You learned how to do the output and read it a little bit easier. Okay, that's it. We will teach simple scripting the next one. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening and watching.